Good morning, everybody, and we'll begin with the initial discussion on computation of income. I hope the audio is clear, screen is visible, so we can start.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So far we have discussed three heads of income and a few exemptions under section 10. And with that, we can start with the problems on computation of income uh, based on these three heads. Uh, I'll first discuss the format in which we usually prepare this computation of income. Let us understand what the components, what the details are. Okay, this is a very common standard format as such, which is generally used. So you have the basic details like name of the assessee, address, permanent account number, again an important field, then status. In our case, we are going to have all the cases which will be based on individual. We are going to have computation of only individual, and the status will be resident and ordinarily resident. And the assessment year, as we have discussed, applicable for us is assessment year 2020-21. Then you will have the heading statement showing computation of total income for the previous year ended on 31st March 2020. That's going to be a common heading. And then under each head, we are going to compute the relevant taxable income. So our heads will go in this order: income from salary, then income from house property, income from business or profession, income from capital gains, which we are yet to discuss, and income from other sources, that is also yet to be discussed. So these are the five heads of income. So income will be computed under each head by applying the relevant provisions, and then we total up those five heads of income. That total is known as the gross total income. So five heads, individual computation of income, summation of that known as gross total income. And from this, there are a few deductions available, which we commonly call it as Chapter 6A deductions, which are essentially in Section 80. So after you claim those deductions, what remains is a total income or taxable income on which we are supposed to pay the tax. So this is how the broad presentation of computation of income usually happens. For presentation, we are going to use three columns. So we will see now how we are going to utilize those three columns. The last column, the right hand side, the last column will be used by us only to show the income under that head. So income from salary, whatever is the final result, that will go to the third column. And first two columns, we will use as internal workings, some exemptions, some deductions, all those kind of things. Whatever is applicable, that we can show in the first two columns. So first two columns will have some workings, etc., computation, etc., plus, minus, additions, deductions, whatever. And the last column will carry the final income taxable under that head. So it will look a very compact and neat kind of presentation. Okay. So have you understood the format or template that we are going to use?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now for the time being, we are not going to compute the total income or taxable income because we are yet to discuss two more heads of income, and we are also yet to discuss Chapter 6A deductions. Okay. So unless and until we finish that, we can't do the sums on total income. So right now, we'll be confined to only gross total income. So whatever few sums we are going to do as a practice for the time being to get a complete feel of three heads of income that we have discussed will be based on computation of gross total income only. Okay, we will not compute the taxable income. So with these few details, I think we can start. Let us work on the first sum. Let us understand the details first, and then we'll start with the computation. Now question 1 says Mr. A has given following details of his income for the previous year or financial year 2019-2020. He is employed with ABC Limited and his salary details are given. Various components of salary are given: basic, dearness allowance, transport allowance, house rent allowance, entertainment allowance, bonus, etc. And there is some additional information about some of his expenses and some of the deductions from his salary. There is also information about the house property which he owns, and it is given on the rental basis. And you have the details like what is the rent per month and what is the amount of municipal tax paid, etc. And also there is a borrowing for his house property, and he has paid some interest on bank loan on his borrowing. So with these details, we can start. Okay. So let us write down this format first. Okay. C is Mr. A. Just leave it, pan leave it. Then individual R and OR, that will remain same. Here I will make a slight change. Statement should computation of, I would say, gross total income and not total income, because total income is taxable income and we are not going to reach that stage now. So slight change, will be computing only up to gross total income. And then rupees. Ready with the headers? Yes. Can we start with the details?
Yes,
all of you
sir.
have completed. All of you have completed the header one. Okay. Okay. So we'll start. So our first head will be income from. So this salary from A Limited, ABC Limited. Okay. ABC Limited. So we will now show the details of salary which he has received from ABC Limited. Various components of salary are being shown. Okay. So we will show all these components of salary. If there is any amount which will have some exemption or something, then we will show it in the first column, calculate the exemption or whatever, and then take the amount to the second column. Else we can directly take the amount to the second column. There is absolutely no issue in taking the amount to the second column. So we will write down these details here. Basic salary, dearness allowance, transport allowance, and house rent allowance. Okay. Now all these allowances or basic salary is basically taxable. There is no exemption, no deduction available in respect of these items of salary. It doesn't say that he stays in a rented house or something. So we cannot claim any exemption even for items like house rent allowance. Only if it is given that he stays in a rental house and you are given further details, then you can compute the exemption under house rent allowance 1013A. But in the absence of these details, we will assume that everything is taxable. So first four items, DA, that is dearness allowance, transport allowance, house rent allowance, all of them are taxable because there is no exemption available based on the information. Everybody has taken these four items, then we will go and discuss the next one. All of you have taken these items?
Yes,
Can we
sir.
go to, yeah. Now the next item is entertainment allowance of 60,000 rupees. And additional information says he has spent 65,000 rupees on entertainment. Now, whenever you receive entertainment allowance, it is basically part and parcel of your taxable salary. You cannot claim any deduction for actual expenditure incurred. So even in this case, he might have spent 65,000 on entertainment, but he cannot claim a deduction or any other benefit for that. So we have to simply ignore that 65,000 information, actual expenditure of entertainment. In case of a government employee, you can claim a deduction under section 16, subsection 2. But he is not a government employee. He is working with ABC Limited, so he is a non-government employee. So that means we cannot avail any deduction under section 16.2 also. So this entertainment allowance will be fully included, will be fully taxed as part of his income. So let us add entertainment allowance also, and even the bonus, because bonus is also a part and parcel of salary. Okay, so bonus as well as entertainment allowance both will be fully taxed in the hands of this assessee. Two items we can add, that is bonus and entertainment allowance. So we have taken relevant components of salary as given in the second column. There are no exemptions, there are no deductions so far because all these allowances are taxable. Going further, the information says profession tax deducted from salary is 2,500 and income tax deducted from salary is 25,000. So what his employer has done, he has deducted 2,500 towards the profession tax while paying the salary to this employee. Similarly, there is some tax liability of the employee, so he has recovered income tax of rupees 25,000 from this employee. Now, out of these two items, income tax is not an allowable deduction. So we cannot do anything for income tax. It is a tax paid on behalf of the employee after making appropriate deduction from its salary. But employee cannot claim any exemption or deduction with reference to such payment of tax. He will get a credit when he works out his tax liability. That credit will be available for this deduction of tax at source. But there is no separate deduction or whatever when you compute your taxable income. So income tax deducted from salary has to be ignored by us. But profession tax is relevant for us because profession tax is deductible under section 16, subsection 3. Okay, so that is a part of your deductions from salary income. So all other items are taken, so we can take the total of these items. Okay, so we will take the total of these items in the same column. Okay. So total is 12,48,000. Gross salary. And then this gross salary is subject to deductions under section 16. From this salary, we can claim deductions under section 16. That is a section which allows you deductions from salary. And if you recall our discussion, we have three deductions available under section 16. The first is a standard deduction, which is up to rupees 50,000. If you receive salary, you are eligible for standard deduction under section 16(1). Entertainment allowance is under 16(2), but that is only for government employees. Our case is not a government employee. And the third one is tax paid on employment under section 16, subsection 3, which is nothing but the profession tax given in our example. We have two deductions to be claimed here. One is standard deduction, section 16, and profession tax. These are the two deductions. Now in his case, his salary is 12,48,000. So he will be able to claim maximum deduction, that is 50,000 of standard deduction. And profession tax is 2,500. So that is another item of deduction under section 16. So total deduction, if you take total of these two, it is 52,500, and then we can work out salary, income from salary, if you want to call it, which will be 12,48,000 minus 52,500. Taxable salary in the outer column will be 11,19,500. the taxable salary will be 11,95,500. So what we have done so far, we have simply taken various components of salary. We aggregated all these components together. There were no exemptions from these items of salary, so everything is taxable. So we calculated, after adding up all these items, his gross salary, which came to 12,48,000. From this 12,48,000, we have to find out which deductions he can claim. And in his case, there are two deductions which are eligible. One is standard deduction under section 16(1), where the maximum eligible amount of deduction is 50,000 that we have claimed. And the second one is the profession tax or tax on employment under section 16(3), which comes to 2,500, which is given in the sum. So total deductions are 52,500, and as a result, you get a taxable salary of 11,95,500. Clear about this working of taxable salary of Mr. A?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Any
sir.
difficulty in this? Any
No,
difficulty? Anybody else has difficulty? It's a very basic, simple sum to begin with, no complications at all. Just to get familiarized with the format, the presentation, the workings, and introductory part. Okay, so I'm sure you will not have difficulty, at least in first couple of sums, because they are very simple. Just to get used to these kind of sums. That's the idea. Okay, shall we go to the next part of discussion? Because we have one more
Yes.
head of income.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes. Now, if you see the question further, it says that he is also owner of a house property, and which is given by him on the rental basis. That means he is earning income in the nature of rent. And if you are earning income in the nature of rent, it is taxable as income from house property. So now we will compute the income from house property. So let us come to the next head of income. Our next head of income will be income from house property. Now, the house property could be self-occupied. That means it is used by the assessee for his own residential purpose, for self-residential purpose, or it can be let out property, like in this case, which is given on rental basis, or it can be a deemed to be let out property under certain circumstances. We will see which are those circumstances when the property is known as deemed to be let out property. Now, in this case, it is a let out property, so we can mention here let out property. Now, the first step in let out property is to calculate what is the gross annual value. Now, if you recall our discussion, we find out the gross annual value by taking the municipal valuation and fair rent of the property. Then fair rent with the municipal valuation, whichever is higher, is known as a reasonable letting or lettable value of the property. If at all standard rent is applicable, this is compared with the standard rent, and if need be, standard rent will apply as a limitation or cap in respect of this amount. Then if the property is actually let out, then we can find out what is the rent received or receivable for that particular year, and your reasonable lettable value and the rent received, whichever is higher, is gross annual value of the property. Now, in the given case, we don't have any information about fair rent or municipal valuation or standard rent or whatever. You are only given the rent received, which is 20,000 per month. So we will take that as an annual value of the property in the absence of any other information. So gross annual value of the property will be equal to rent received. Rent received is 20,000 per month. So for a year, it will become 2,40,000. Rent received will be 2,40,000 rupees. This is a gross annual value of the property. Now, from gross annual value of the property, if at all you are paying any municipal taxes, those are allowed as deduction, provided that these are borne by the SEC. Its burden is on the shoulders of the SEC, and the tax is actually paid during the previous year. Here it says that the municipal tax paid by him is rupees 6,000 per annum. So this qualifies for deduction. So less municipal tax paid 6,000. So we find out the balance. This is known as net annual value of the property. So net annual value of the property is 2,34,000. Gross annual value is your rent received less municipal tax paid. Please switch off your mic. किसी का mic चालू है. Less municipal tax paid 6,000. So net annual value NAV of the property is 2,34,000. This being the laid out property. Any difficulty in these 2-3 steps that we have taken so far?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So we have reached the net annual value. From this net annual value, we can claim deductions under section 24. So less section 24. Now there are two deductions which are available under section 24. One is 30% of NAV, which is a standard deduction. Okay, this is a standard deduction. So our NAV is 2,34,000. Of 30% of this NAV comes to 70,200. 30% of net annual value, 2,34,000 is the net annual value. 30% of that is 70,200, which is a standard deduction in computation of income from house property. And then, if at all you have any interest on construction related loan, that will be available provided the conditions are satisfied. The conditions are the funds should be utilized for purchase, acquisition, construction, reconstruction, etc. of the concerned house property. Here it says the house was constructed with a bank loan and interest paid during the year is 44,000 rupees. So this interest on bank loan will be available as a deduction. So one more deduction will be interest on bank loan, which is 44,000. Interest on bank loan is 44,000. So total of these two in the outer column is 1,14,200. That is the total of these two items, total deduction. And then we will have income from property will be 2,34,000 minus 1,14,200. So it will be 1,19,800. The income under the head income from house property. Have you understood the computation of this house property income?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we have income from salary and we have income from house property. If you take a total of these two, okay, in the last column, outer column, this is known as your gross total income. Gross total income is going to be 13,15,300. Any difficulty in this sum? Salary, house property?
No, sir.
Everybody has clearly followed what we did so far?
Yes, sir.
All of you have completed. Can we go to the next sum if this is over?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So we'll begin with the second sum. Okay. Now in the second sum, you are given the details of one Mr. B. He is having income from salary. He is working with X Limited, and he owns now two house properties. There is a house number 1 and house number 2. House number 1 is a self-occupied property, while house number 2 is a let-out property. And for both the properties, few details are given, and we need to compute his gross total income for the assessment year 2020-21. Okay, so we'll start with the details. Now, in this case, it says that he received net salary of 88,000 per month after deduction of profession tax of 200, contribution to RPF 6,000. RPF is a recognized provident fund, income tax of 10,000, and recovery of loan amounting to rupees 6,000. Now, whenever a person is employed, it is gross salary that he is eligible for as per the contract of employment, which is fixed in accordance with the contract of employment, his gross salary. But when you actually receive the salary from the employer, it will not be the same amount as gross salary for a simple reason that there will be some deductions from your salary. So what you actually receive is your take home salary, as it is commonly called as, which is after making certain deductions from your gross salary. So what are the very common deductions that you can come across? One of them is a profession tax, because your employer will recover profession tax from your gross salary and then he will pay it to the government. Likewise, he will also recover your income tax liability from salary and deposit that with the government authorities. If PF is applicable, then the employee has to also contribute towards PF through his own contribution. So employer will recover this amount from the employee and deposit the same with the government authorities. There may be other deductions. For example, if the employee has taken any loan from employer, then that loan will be recovered through his salary. There will be installments of loan which will be recovered from his salary. So that loan amount also will be considered as a deduction from his salary. And after all these deductions, whatever is left, that will be actually paid to the employee concerned. Are you clear about the concept of gross salary and net salary?
Yes, sir.
So this net salary is a take-home salary, what you actually get from the employer. And gross salary is your eligibility as per your contract of employment. Now the next question, when it comes to the taxation, are we concerned with the gross salary or are we concerned with the net salary? And the answer is, we are concerned with the gross salary. When it comes to the taxation of salary, it is a gross salary which you have earned is liable for tax. The gross salary which you are eligible for is liable for tax. Net salary is only an adjustment when it comes to the payment of salary. That doesn't mean that net salary is the one which is liable for tax. So whenever we are given the net amount of salary, we have to work backwards and find out what is the gross amount of salary. So in this sum, we are going to understand this concept and find out what will be the gross amount of this salary. Okay, so let's work on that. We'll first create the format. Okay, the same information. For me, it is little easy. Copy paste. We have Mr. B. the format? Can we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us
Yes, sir.
begin with the details. Yeah. Let us begin with the details. First is income from salary. Now we have to find out the gross salary. Okay. How do we find out the gross salary? We have to sum up. How do we sum up? Is 88,000 is the monthly net salary. So 88,000. Okay. Plus you add back all the deductions. He is getting salary after deduction of 200 rupees towards profession tax. So we add back that. Then there is a PF of 6,000. So we add back that. Add 6. Then add income tax, which is 10,000. Plus you have a loan recovery of 6,000. These are the components of his salary. Okay, and this is monthly salary. Okay, it says net salary rupees 88,000 per month after deduction of all these. So all these are monthly deductions, and we are concerned with the annual amount of salary. So multiplied by 12. While doing the gross salary calculation, we have to add back all the deductions and multiply by 12 in this case, so that we can get the annual amount of salary. So 88,000 plus all these deductions, okay, and then multiplied by 12. That's how we have to calculate. So let's calculate.
Twelve lakh 50,400.
Yeah, one second. 1322,400 आता है कितना आता है
1322,400.
correct yeah so 1322,400 is a gross salary. All of you are able to get this gross salary 13,22,400.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
See,
sir.
I repeat the explanation what we have done. You are given is net salary which is 88,000 per month. Okay. But this 88,000 is a net salary and there are various deductions made from this. But we have to go by the gross salary for taxation. So how do you get the gross salary? If you add back all those deductions, you will get the gross salary. So our monthly net is 88,000 plus 200 profession tax plus RPF contribution 6,000 plus income tax recovery 10,000 plus loan recovery 6,000. This is his gross monthly, and we are going to consider the salary for 12 months. It's a financial year, so 12 months salary. So multiplied by 12. So his gross salary comes to 22,004. There are no other details given. This is his gross salary for the year. We don't have breakup like what is the basic salary, what is the dearness allowance, and those kind of things. This is the only information that we have. So we will take this as a gross salary. And then we can directly go to the deductions list. Section 16. Now we are going to claim two deductions here. One is standard deduction and another one is profession tax. Okay. Don't forget the profession tax. In these kind of sums, there is a possibility that you may miss on the profession tax. So standard deduction 50,000 and profession tax in this case is 2,400. He is paying 200 rupees per month. If you see the information, monthly deduction is 200 rupees. So total profession tax paid during the year is 2,400. So his taxable salary will be 1322 400 minus 52 12,70,000. That will be his taxable salary. Have you understood working of his taxable salary?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other difficulty in understanding the difference between gross salary and the net salary?
No, sir.
No. So we have computed the income under the head salary. We have one more head of income, and that is income from house property. Okay, but I don't want to continue because of time limitation now. Okay, what we'll do is we'll keep the entire income from house property for the subsequent lecture. So we have completed in this sum up to salary income. We will start from where we have left it, and we will start with the income from house property in the next session, in the next lecture. Is that okay with you all?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Fine.
sir.
Any other difficulties? Any other difficulties in this sum? Or earlier sum also for that matter
No,
on
sir.
salary and house property? No. Fine. So we'll conclude the lecture. Let me stop the recording, download the attendance, and then we will part for the day. Just wait for a while.